You may have heard, or maybe not, there's a solar eclipse coming to North America, and I'm excited about this. I love astronomical events and just astronomy overall. It's just really cool stuff to see. But there's a lot of fear going on right now. And I will tell you, a lot of the fear is simply just because, this is an awe-inspiring event. It's cool stuff. But the other part of the fear is, there seems to be something bigger going on than simply just an eclipse. And I'm going to show you 4 articles to show this because, as far as preppers go, the last article especially is going to it's kind of fearful. Let's jump into this. The first 2 articles, no big deal. Officials are warning people to stock up on supplies before the solar eclipse. Simply put, people are going to see the eclipse. It's a natural phenomenon, and it will attract a horde of tourists to the continent. They're worried about so many massive numbers that could actually strain local resources, and that is true. So first article, sure, I get it. Lots of people coming in. For me, there's a martial arts tournament that weekend, and I seriously considered going to it, but I got a notification a month ago that says, if you're going to this, get your hotel room now because it's probably going to be booked up. And I said, you know what, I'm just not going to worry about going to that one. But there's another article. Look at this. Solar eclipse also sparks warning about cell phones. It says, warns that the upcoming solar eclipse may affect cell service. Why? Because of the sun? No, there's so many people there, it may actually clog the system. Again, that's great. I mean, just warning people because there's going to be so many people there. I'm not a big crowd kind of person anyway. It kind of frightens me, all these people in one location. Think about that too, as far as illegal immigration, what possibly might happen. But these 2 things, it makes sense. You know what? Lots of people in local economies, it's difficult. Cell phones being overrun. Let's look at this next article, and we're going to start stepping up now and seeing that there's more to it here than meets the eye. And this could actually be explainable too. Mind you, the National Guard is going to be deployed as well for the eclipse. For example, Oklahoma's Guard is set to be deployed for the upcoming total eclipse, which as many as 100,000 people are expected to visit. Just one county. They'll provide things like first responders, that's great, hazmat responses in case there's an incident like an industrial fire. Yeah, that kind of stuff happens during an eclipse. So there's 3. This article kind of makes sense too. You want some National Guard there to keep order. This whole thing about an industrial fire, though, doesn't work in my mind. Suddenly you're going to have an industrial fire there. Local firefighters can't take care of it. But who knows? Maybe they're playing on the safe side. But there's 3 articles. This 4th one, I'm really curious to see what you think about this. And it starts off with fact check, which there's going to be some controversy here. Why the National Guard's nuclear unit is now poised for the eclipse. Before I get into an article, why? Why would there be a nuclear unit basically ready to go? Somebody told me a while ago it was in Texas, but it turns out it's in Oklahoma. Not only is it the National Guard, but the National Guard's nuclear biological chemical unit, that's the unit I belonged in the military as well, are poised to be able to, take care of things. And it's not just an industrial fire. Let's continue. So basically, it's going to join up with the last article. An eclipse will attract hundreds of thousands. It's one of the best places to see the moon blocking the sun. Cool. We saw this in the last article. Oklahoma, the National Guard has already announced its deployment. However, a report that an elite chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear unit would be monitoring the event has led to a wave of suspicious social media posts. Yeah, there's a reason for that. A TikTok posted this and broke the news, and now this TikTok video has been viewed over 3 million times. And the TikToker says, things are getting wild. The National Guard is going to be here now for the solar eclipse. This article was released in Oklahoma newspaper saying that they'll have guardsmen present in McCurtain County for the solar eclipse. Again, guardsmen's not the problem. I'm assuming this is how he sounds anyway, but things get much weirder. The 22 members of an elite chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear unit will be housed in Broken Bow. That's interesting. In addition to 110 to 150 highway patrol troopers. If you wear a tinfoil hat, you might say, wow, Broken Bow. And the term for a lost nuclear device is called a broken arrow. No, I don't think there's anything there. And then again, there's the common sense part. They say stock up on food, have full tanks of gas for sure. Communications may actually be overloaded. All that makes sense. But let's go to this. A YouTube video on the channel of Off Grid with Doug and Stacy posted in March and viewed more than 200,000 times. Wow. And also mentions this article. Doug said, and listen to this, it's so funny. I do not remember a biological scientist and, radioactive scientist and all this hype over this stuff, right? What? I love Newsweek. And I say that facetiously. I loathe Newsweek. They are a horrible mainstream media article garbage presenter that put out stuff. And they're clearly putting out one line from Doug, who I admire and respect. All the times I've met Doug and Stacy, they're fantastic people. And Doug puts out a lot of good information. If you haven't been to his channel, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, if anything, since he's being listed Newsweek, shows he's doing something right. Good job, Doug. But obviously they're just misquoting or putting some garbled stuff on there because they want Doug look like an idiot. No, there's a very good reason why he is bringing up the fact that there's going to be an NBC, or nuclear, biological, chemical, radiological system team, going to be in Oklahoma. What's the reason, though? They say the team is simply part of the 63rd Civil Support Team, part of the National Guard, which is true. They respond to chemical, biological, nuclear, radiological, and high-yield explosive-related emergencies. Okay, that's true, too. They said they're there just to help out with an abundance of caution. And here's their answer, which you're probably going to get a chuckle. I did. While they're trained in chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear issues, which is top-notch, they can also identify and test chemicals or substances. Most of their day-to-day job is helping local law enforcement. Okay, I get that. Like testing mysterious powder like fentanyl. Okay, I'm going to be a little sarcastic here. I like a good dose of sarcasm. So we're worried about this eclipse and all these people and cell signals going down and food being scarce and all these problems and a big fentanyl problem because it's going to be one giant fentanyl drug party watching the eclipse. That's sarcasm. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. I mean, look, maybe they have some tips that they may actually take action, some kind of terrorist using some kind of chemical device. That would make sense. And they don't want to scare the public. Maybe there's a nuclear event too. Who knows what's going on? I mean, obviously, I see it that there's nothing going on because of the eclipse itself. It's simply because the crowd's there. I would say, more than likely, the government knows something that we don't. It's not even talking about the NBC teams in other states that we're seeing the eclipse. It's just right there. And we're actually sending it there because of fentanyl. I don't buy it. What about you? Put in the comments below. What do you think's going on here? Do you think there's going to be some kind of nuclear, chemical, biological event happening at the time? I mean, look, we do have countless immigrants coming across, and these countless immigrants they're here for nefarious reasons. But the nefarious reasons are not distributing fentanyl. That's not what they're here for. And again, they're looking for big public gatherings to be able to inflict the most damage for the ones who want to cause damage and problems. And this eclipse may be the perfect reason for that. I could see that. That's the reason why we see the National Guard in all the states, mind you, not simply just Oklahoma. But Oklahoma, maybe they got a tip that's going to be something even bigger. What do you think about that? All right, guys, we have to prep. If you are like me and you're a prepper, I'm not going to that tournament. I'm not going anywhere near that. I love the eclipse. I'll see partial eclipse from my house. That's good enough for me. But I'm not going anywhere near these crowds. How about you? I prefer to stay away. That's how I prepare. Stay away from the masses anyway. Don't jump on the bandwagons and do your own thing. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I appreciate you being here.